Welcome to What the Fantasy. Sorry about starting a little late tonight. I've had a lot of technical difficulties. So I am Brandon Hay at Hay B3.
And I am Zadok Cantabedia at ZCantsFF. Brandon, how are you, man?
I've seen better days, but but we're here, and the show must go on. So
can I just do a little to get the right energy going? Can I just do a little something?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Just a little. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? You know what that gets me feeling, man, when I hear that? That makes me feel like I'm going into Sunday Night Football, and I'm playing against Josh Allen, and I'm up 20 points, and all I have is a kicker. And it's the kicker for the Bills. And I'm just trying to hope that you have the butterflies in your stomach, and you're like, all right, dude, just don't let Josh Allen go too crazy. This gets me going right here, man. I want to bring the right energy for the podcast tonight, dude. Since football starting tomorrow, dude, I managed to not die another year and make it to football season. I managed not to do anything too stupid or ingest anything too stupid or take on a dare that would have gotten me killed. I think I'm getting some wisdom in my older age, so I'm not making dumber decisions, but I'm glad I made it to another year of football, man. I'm glad to be here with you. Glad to be here with anybody that's watching and listening. I think it's going to be a really interesting and long season. So let's gear up for it, dude.
All right. Yeah, you got me in a better mood with playing that and getting me a little hyped up for the football season. It's almost here. So just a little, announcement formatting wise. We've been doing the weekly videos, and thank you for everyone that's been viewing those. We've been getting a great reception on those. And because of that, we're going to start shortening the length of the podcast to trying to do between 30 and 45 minutes. That was the plan at the beginning, and we just kind of kept on lengthening it and lengthening it. So we're going to try to start shortening it for the season and everything. So let's just get right into it. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was I was doing some weekly rankings this week, and it's the first time I've done it, and it was very difficult. And I was kind of thinking, when someone plays a very good defense, should we lower expectations on what they will do, or since they are, more talented, or should we go with the talent and think that they're going to, just still do well fantasy wise? Two players this week that I thought that about that was Dak Prescott. He plays the Buccaneers tomorrow night, and also Josh Allen versus the Steelers. Josh Allen had an okay game last year against the Steelers. So what are your thoughts on when, quarterbacks or any position plays a very strong defense? Should we lower expectations or just keep going with the talent?
I think you should lower expectations, but keep going with the talent. I think you can keep your guys. And so say if you're starting AJ Brown, right? And AJ Brown is playing against the Rams, and he's got Jalen Ramsey. He's playing against Jalen Ramsey in shadow coverage. Right, this is one of the most difficult matchups any wide receiver can go against. Keep him in your lineup, but kind of construct your roster in a certain way, which will complement his matchup. So build in some upside into your flex, right? Don't put so much floor. So don't put like a low-end RB2 in your flex spot. Put in like a Darnell Mooney, or put in somebody that's going to get you like a bunch of PPR points or something like that. Just kind of, it depends, but I think you should always stick with your studs. And in regards to Josh Allen and Dak versus Bucks, I think Josh Allen's like one of the if not the number one quarterback in the league. So I don't think you have to really worrying about choosing between those two. But I think yeah, you should always start your studs. If we're talking about Zeke in that matchup and Antonio Gibson, or Zeke and Nick Chubb, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. And in my head, my heart wants to say Nick Chubb and Gibson. So I think in that case, just because it's such a thick defensive line, they are so strong against the run. What's going to happen, I think, is that the Bucks are going to come out and they're going to try to run the ball, and they're going to fail, and they're going to have a couple of short possessions, and then Brady's going to come out and just drive it right down their throats. And before the Cowboys know it, it's going to be like 17-0, and it's going to be like the middle of the second quarter, and they're going to be like, Zeke, sorry man, Pollard, get out here. It's your turn to go. We can't run the ball really much. I mean, what you might be hoping for is a Zeke plunge into the end zone, but that's also like, that's kind of thinking too much about it too. At the same time, sometimes you just got to start your studs. But if I had the option to like pivot to Antonio Gibson or Nick Chubb, or yeah, man, it's tough. It depends what the options are. So I don't know, it's really difficult.
No, I agree. And talking about the rankings, so I would have normally had Josh Allen, I think 1 or 2 most weeks, just because he's so talented and they just throw the ball a ton. They don't really run the ball with their mediocre running backs with Singletary and Moss. So I just dropped him a couple spots. For Dak, I think I put him at 8 or 9 just because I do think he'll get the volume, but I just worry there's going to be a couple picks in there. He might not score as many touchdowns. I believe I had Amari Cooper at 12 and CeeDee Lamb at 15, and normally through the season I think I'd have them higher. I do not think the Cowboys' defense is very good, so I think the Bucs will score fairly easily. And then that allows the Bucs defense to kind of just pin their ears back and just go after Dak. And Dak's first game after that injury, which I kind of worry about. But another thing on Thursday night games, I sometimes do this. If there's a tiebreaker between 2 players, just so I have a rooting interest on that Thursday night game, sometimes I'll throw a questionable player in my lineup for that game. Sometimes it's worked for me, and sometimes it's blown up in my face.
Yeah.
But I just kind of like that little risk, especially if it's not 2 superstar teams, and I just want some kind of rooting interest in there. So do you ever do that, or do you try to stay away from that?
I'll throw like a kicker in there probably just for like some kind of action. That's probably what I'm trying to do this year. I'm trying so hard to get my league mates to do like a private DFS group, so we can but no one's responding really. I don't really understand why, because we're so competitive with each other. We play poker online. We do all these different things together. And I think if we buy it for like $5, $10, or $20, whatever the stakes are, it'll make it super interesting. We'll all be like playing against each other. Even if none of us have people in that game, we can still create a lineup for that game and play against each other. And I think like a few of them don't really understand what it is. So they're just like kind of like, wait, what is this whole new concept? But I really hope that we get this going. I'm going to shove it down their throats until we do it, because I think it'll be really fun. Like just $5 between like 6 guys, 6 guys, winner take all. So I always like action in a game. I will always prefer action in a game, obviously. And if not, I'm still watching it. I don't care. I'm still watching it from beginning to end.
No, I agree. Have you heard of Prize Picks, the app?
No.
So it's like a app where you can do prop bets. So I've been doing it for college, and you at least have to do 2, and you can do up to 5. And then it has different betting structures. So if you bet say $20 and do 5 props, then if you get all 5, you get a certain amount, and then if you get 4 or 3, whatever. So I've been doing that. I'm probably gonna get involved in that in the NFL. I do DraftKings DFS, but I'm horrible at it. I always pick the wrong players. I'm horrible at figuring out the salary caps, so I'm never really good at that. But I do agree that is fun to do that. So
yeah,
maybe we should get one going for us, and get a few people on Twitter to join in.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Let's do it.
Okay, so we kind of talked about that, and now we're going to go on to a dynasty trade that I made, and I want to get your opinion. After I did it, I had some regret. So let me put that up on the screen. Okay. Oh, why is it doing the ticker? There we go. All right, so I traded Corey Davis, Jalen Reagor, and a 2022 second for Mike Davis and Chris Herndon. So just some background on my team. So this is a 2 tight end league. So I had Irv Smith and Travis Kelce, and obviously Irv Smith is out for the season. And then I was going to have to play someone like Jack Doyle, which I didn't really want to do. So that's why I kind of made this trade. And wide receiver wise, I think I'm fine even with trading Corey Davis. I have Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Marvin Jones, and then when Rashad Bateman comes back. So, and then running backs, I was going to have to start Devin Singletary and Ty Johnson. So even though, it's not a huge upgrade, it's an upgrade regardless. So what are your thoughts on this trade?
When I was just looking at the two sides, I thought it was a loss for you. Chris Herndon, I don't know, man. Chris Herndon's not going to do anything for you this year. I'll be real with you. He's not going to do anything for you. I mean, if he's going to do anything, it's going to be very limited. I think we've discussed what the Vikings tight end is, and that's relatively nothing, especially when he has Tyler Conklin already in front of him. But I do think it's worth it for Mike Davis when looking at your depth already at the wide receivers and tight ends and running back position. You have a significant upgrade at Mike Davis, and you said you have Wayne Gallman and Mike Davis, so you have that locked up. So you got that going for you. You essentially traded Corey Davis, Jalen Reagor, and a 2022 second for Mike Davis. So you traded 3 pieces for Mike Davis essentially, and I don't think Chris Herndon is going to do anything for you. That's my take on it.
I have hopes that Herndon finally figures it out because we've been waiting for him, with the Jets. They keep on, raving and everything. So I'm just hoping with that. And also with Jalen Reagor, I mean, I still have hope for him, but I heard, Quez Watkins is getting slot snaps over him. And I just don't know he just kind of seems like they're going to use him as somewhat of a gadget player. I just don't know if he's ever going to live up to that first round pick status. And I like Corey Davis, but I'm an Elijah Moore guy, so I'm always going to think he's going to get, most of that. And we don't really know what that Jets offense is going to look like. And I don't know going in the future what Corey Davis will really be. Like I said, this isn't a trade that I exceptionally like, but it was something I could get done. My team's kind of in a win now somewhat mode, even though the running backs and the tight end, well, I have Kelce, but the wide receivers are very good. I made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. So, yeah. So
I think you were fine with Kelce and Doyle. I don't think you needed to do the Chris Herndon thing. I wish you'd have contacted me before you did this. I would have told you don't do that. But I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Ty Johnson and Devin Singletary could provide some value. Gallman, you could have just held out and just made it work and just forced those running backs in there and put Gallman in there, and hopefully he gets a touchdown for you here and there.
I agree. Yeah, this was one of those things where I was just kind of looking at the league, and I was like, let me just throw a trade out there. And sometimes when I do this, I've kind of been hurt with it because I put a trade out there not necessarily thinking they're going to agree to it right away. I think there's going to be some sort of negotiating back. Yeah, just accept it. No talking. Just
that's
boom,
scary.
Accept. I didn't even know it was accepted till the next day when I looked at the league again and it said, and I saw that my team was different. So that's hurt me a couple times, but I guess got to give it to that person for accepting that. So that's the trade of the week. So now let's go into almost spilled my beer. So that was a close one.
That sucked.
But I didn't. So, all right. So now we're going to do a top 3 of anyone that's currently in the NFL you would want to hang out with. It can be owners, GMs, coaches, players. So we'll kind of go back and forth. So for number 3, who is your number 3?
Number 3 is Travis Kelce, just because he seems like a fun dude. He's always on the field dancing, or he's just like very energetic guy. It'd be cool just to go just hang out with him. Go to like a football game or go cruise with him somewhere down. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like going to a party scene with Travis Kelce would be super cool. Like, he's just like that, just to watch him, just to see how he acts, I don't know. He's just very energetic guy, I think. So it'd be cool just to be around him and just not even talk to him, just follow him around, just see what he does, you know?
No, I agree. And when I saw you, I was going to put Travis Kelsey as one of my options, but I saw you picked him, and I think Kelsey is kind of uh, trying to be kind of like Gronk, in like the party guy, the guy that's fun and everything. So I think that's a very good choice. And number 3 for me, this is going to be a surprise. I picked John Gruden, and the reason is when Jay Gruden was the offensive coordinator for the Jaguars, by one of the beaches, there's this bar called Ragtime. They have a lot of bands. It's got good food, good drinks. So I think I met him on New Year's Eve, and he bought me and my wife some shots, and he's a very honest, cool guy. He told me everything. He was surprisingly, blunt and honest about the Jags, what kind of happened with them, that they didn't listen to anything he said, all that stuff. And I hung out with him several times while he still was in Jacksonville at this bar, and we'd always buy shots, and and he was a cool guy. So I kind of want to meet John, just kind of compare, and maybe get some stories about them, growing up, and kind of see how many times I could call him Chucky before he got really pissed off.
That sounds like a cool story, man. I didn't know you got to actually sit and pick the brain of a former like offensive coordinator. That's pretty sweet. My number 2 is Bill Belichick, simply just because I think he's the greatest mind there is in the NFL today. I think he's underestimated. I think we're seriously underestimating him this year. I mean, I don't want to go off topic, but I think he's going to do some amazing things with the Patriots this year. But I mean, I would love to just sit and talk to him. I mean, I would just love again, just not even talk to him, but just sit and watch him go through the process of how he prepares for a game, what's going on in his head. If I could like listen to his thoughts out loud, I would love to hear his thoughts out loud. A mind like that should be preserved, like for football to learn. Like all his notebooks on football and everything he's done should be preserved and studied and written down somewhere, because that's a beautiful, beautiful football mind that I would love to pick at one day. So Bill Belichick is my number 2 for sure.
Yeah, that's a great pick, and I've actually heard too, because everyone has this kind of perspective of Belichick, that he's this tough guy, that he's not friendly and everything. And what if everything from I've heard from players to other coaches, other people, that he's like really fun to hang out with outside of football and everything like that. I know I've seen videos of him playing with his dogs at home and everything. He seems way more less serious, away from the football field. So I think that's a good pick for number 2. So number 2 for me is Matt Stafford. I even though I'm not a big Georgia Bulldogs fan, I always liked him at Georgia, and I've always kind of rooted for him in the NFL. I think he's gotten a bad rap being on a bad team. He's a tough guy. He's played, I remember there was one game where he got hit really hard. I'm pretty sure he broke some ribs, and he stayed in the game and threw a game-winning touchdown pass. And also, I remember, I don't know if it was last year or a couple of years ago, it was the thing where you would see NFL players out at other games like NBA games, and the camera would pan to them. And I remember, Aaron Rodgers tried to chug a beer and was very slow with it. But I do remember Matt Stafford just pounded a beer. So I think he knows how to party, obviously going to Georgia. And I think he would just be a fun guy to hang out with.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one too. Matthew Stafford seems like a cool guy. He seems like a pretty mellow and like real dude to hang out with. My number 1 is Russell Wilson, just because I want to see what it's like. Cause this guy, like when you hear him talking, like during post-game interviews or like halftime interviews, he's just like, yeah, we got to try harder. We got to be a better team. We got to be 100%. There's no I in team. I think the guys played fantastic. We just got to give it all. It's just cliche after cliche after cliche. And then you see his like, Mr. Unlimited, like this exuberant, positive guy, and like I try to be positive all the time. I can't, because reality just takes a toll on me sometimes. But man, Russell Wilson, like the speed at which this guy goes at in life, like it's a presence you kind of want to be around. He's like got that very good leader mentality. I think he's a beautiful football player to watch. The people on his team love him, dude. Like, how can you not love How would you not love for that guy to be your quarterback or friend or brother or sister or not sister but cousin, like or whatever, like. But I think he's like one of the more interesting people in the league, and I've always kind of like looked to him as one of the more positive figures in the league that have a lot of personality, but aren't also very dramatic about a lot of things and don't make a big deal about a lot of things. So Russell Wilson is my top.
No, I agree. I would like to see what he really is like off the field because, in some of his press conferences and everything, he does come off real corny and everything. But I mean, he's married to Sierra, and I just wonder like what do they do like on the weekends and everything?
Yeah.
And exactly what do they do? So that's a good pick, and I feel like Russell Wilson's a pretty good guy, and he would be very laid back, and could have a good time with him. So number one on my list, I think it's a pretty easy one. I went with Gronk. I feel like he still parties even though he's getting older. I want to see if he's really all about that. If that's all he does, or if there's maybe another side of Gronk that we don't really know. I would just like to party with him. I would need probably 2 weeks to recover after I partied with Gronk, because anyone that is in a club, throwing his shirt off and just standing up on stage, I feel really gets after it. So that's why I would pick number one, because I think that would be a great party. And also, you never know, you might get Brady coming with you, and like in that celebration when he could barely stand up. I think that would be great to party with both of them.
Was Brady hammered after the Bucks won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, when they did you not see the video when they were on the boats and he tossed the Super Bowl trophy to it might have been Gronk on the other boat, and they showed a video. Someone was helping him because he could like barely stand up.
Holy shit. I gotta watch that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was hilarious. So yeah, that's a good top three for both of us. And now what we'll go into is just we each picked a game to kind of preview for this week. So I'll go first with my game, and my game is the Cardinals versus the Titans. I think this could be a pretty exciting game. A lot of offensive points possibly, because both teams have a lot of offensive weapons, and neither of their defenses are really shutdown defenses. I'd like to see if they get better. Some other things I'd like to see is now that Tannehill's, it looks like he's on his way to play after being on the COVID list. I want to see with A.J. Brown and Julio, are both of them going to get the ball quite a bit? How are they going to change? Are they still going to give Derrick Henry the ball as much as they did? Or are they going to start passing the ball a little more? And then on the Cardinals side, I want to see if Kyler takes that next step, and I want to see Rondale Moore, who I love, on the field with DeAndre Hopkins, because in the preseason they didn't have that. So I want to see what they really do with that, and also I want to see how they split up the running back carries with James Conner and Chase Edmonds to see how that goes. I just think that could be a very exciting game. The Cardinals now have J.J. Watt, and see what that defense kind of looks like. I think it could be a very back and forth game and full of tons of fantasy points, hopefully. So it should be a very good game to watch.
And one of the best games to watch this week, I think. You picked a really good one. And asking this question, there were so many different games to pick, because we are like, as people who spend our time wondering we talk about fantasy football, there's a lot of questions we want answered. And so there were so many different good games to pick from, but I ultimately went with the Washington and Chargers. I think with the Chargers side, we have a lot of people speculating on Austin Eckler and if he's going to get goal line touches, how many rushing attempts he's going to get per game. We know that he's a high volume receiver. I have him projected for about like 10 rushes a game. If that's the case, if he is not getting the full workload of the rushing share, who is going to get the second guys? Justin Jackson, is it going to be Larry Roundtree, Joshua Kelly? I personally think Justin Jackson's a good rusher, but he's up there in age and he gets injured. Say it's not Justin Jackson. I like the way Larry Roundtree looked in the preseason. He looked faster than he should. He looked way more decisive, ran a lot more tougher than Joshua Kelly did. I still like Joshua Kelly, but Roundtree looked better. I want to see Donald Parham, man. Donald Parham. Finally, I think all of us have a little bit of Donald Parham love inside of him. We're a little bit of fans of Donald Parham, right? We got Jared Cook over there, but Donald Parham, man, you can't ignore what this guy is. He's a freak of nature. Like once this guy starts going, like who's going to be like who's a real second option on that team? Is it Mike Williams? Mike Williams didn't really do anything last year. Like even if Parham isn't the second option, it doesn't emerge to be, as the starting tight end and as a second option, I think he's going to be a great third option. He's athletic enough to where he can be efficient with his receiving, with his receptions. So let's watch for Donald Parham's emergence. I think the wide receiver alignment between veteran Mike Williams and the rookie Josh Palmer are going to be interesting. They both profile as the same type of receiver, big, huge guys. Josh Palmer, I think, is a little bit more smooth. Mike Williams is just a beast, go up and get it guy. But it's going to be interesting to see if Josh Palmer does in fact start in 3 wide sets, how they will align in 3 wide sets. I expect 11-man personnel to be their base set, just judging off their play style and their personnel over there. So let's watch the splits and see if Josh Palmer is on the field where he lines up. I want to see how the O-line holds up. Now, we know they got some great additions to the O-line this offseason. They were bottom of the barrel, like pretty much last year. I think they're PFF ranked them like 15th or 14th or 13th, middle of the pack this year. But as we know, it takes time for an offensive line to gel properly. And we're going to see this offensive line, brand new to each other, go against the just fierce defensive front. I love watching this defensive front of the Washington football team. Dude, these guys, I want to see how they hold up and what happens to Justin Herbert. I feel like Justin Herbert is going to just get handled out there. I think it's going to be insane for him to hold up against these guys. They better dial up a lot of quick passes for him because it's going to be hell. But let's see how they hold up. On the Washington side, I want to look to see how Fitzy looks because during the preseason, he didn't look so smooth. He looked a little bit choppy. We didn't really see any good, clean drives down the field. They don't look great. I'm sure Fitzy's going to put together some good drives, but I want to see what the offense looks like. I feel like Ron Rivera is kind of like he's a clever little savvy, sneaky guy. He won't really show you his hand. He's more of the Belichick kind of type of personality. I think there's a lot that they didn't show us. So let's see what Fitzy can do. We know Curtis Samuel. He pulled up with another hamstring or some kind of injury today after experiencing groin issues all offseason. So it was a pretty significant groin issue that he was dealing with. He pulled up with something in training camp today. It could be a compensatory injury off his groin injury, or it could be the same groin injury that reemerged. So let's see what happens with rookie De'Ami Brown and veteran Adam Humphries. Again, let's see the splits between them. Let's see who starts in 2 wide sets. I want to see what happens with Antonio Gibson. Is he going to be used on third downs more? I don't think it really is going to, push him down the rankings too much if he does get used on third downs. But let's see how much J.D. McKissic is involved. I don't think J.D. McKissic will be involved that much more than people anticipate. We saw J.D. McKissic on the field on third downs, but again, I think Ron Rivera is not truly showing us what he wants. Antonio Gibson is more than an accomplished pass catcher and a receiver. He has the abilities to. So let's see if Ron Rivera probably expands on that, not to the fullest potential that we were hoping for, but I think we can get some kind of expansion in that dimension of his game. So those are the things I'm looking for this weekend. A lot of good games this weekend. I want to see what happens. I want to watch every game very closely. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to, but a lot of good stuff to watch this weekend.
Yeah, I kind of worry about, not worry, but wonder how Herbert's going to perform this week because I'm very high on Justin Herbert. I wasn't last year when he got drafted. I did not think he was going to be very good, and he proved that he is, and that sometimes these rookies come in and really outperform the expectations. But I do wonder, without great Washington defense, how they're really going to do. And I kind of have him ranked lower because of that. But I think this could be a game where Eckler just goes crazy with catches, because especially if they bring the pressure, they're just going to leak him out a lot more and get short passes to him. He might have less runs than normally he would, but I could see him getting a lot of receptions. And I think Keenan Allen will still have a very good game because he's such a great route runner, and I think they'll get him involved. But I don't know about the other receivers, and tight end wise, I don't know how they're really going to do. And like you said, for the Washington football team, I want to see what Fitzy does. Is he going to come out strong and have a strong game, or is he going to have one of his games where he throws 3 interceptions and maybe they regret playing him. I want to see Terry McLaurin, how he does. I think he's going to do very well this year. And I will be honest, from the preseason games, I feel a little better about Logan Thomas this year because it seemed like Fitzy was just throwing it, up for him, and he was making great catches. I think McKissick will be more involved than I thought, but less involved than last year when Alex Smith would check him the ball all the time. So it'll be somewhere in between, but that is a very, very exciting game. And I almost picked the Eagles-Falcons game just solely to plug our boy Kenny Gainwell. And just there's some interesting things with both teams, how the Eagles kind of go with Jalen Hurts and how they utilize all the weapons on their team. And for Atlanta, how, Kyle Pitts only played a little bit in the preseason, but he had one catch where he just ran through like 3 people. And I want to see how they really use him. I mean, I would assume they're going to target him and Calvin Ridley a lot, and then see what they really do with Mike Davis and Wayne Gallman and, kind of all of that. So, but there's tons of good games. Another game is the Browns and Chiefs. I think that'll be a very exciting game also. So it's a very strong first week.
I wish each of these games had their own prime time spot so we could all watch them individually. Like 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday, 2 games on Monday. So the whole first week is just primetime games the entire time. And then we just continue as normal, where it's just all Sunday games, all Thursday, Monday, But there's so much to watch this week. So I wish we could all watch it individually and take time to appreciate them for the games that they'll be.
Yeah, I was surprised that they are not having 2 Monday night games this year. Because I feel like usually don't they have 2 Monday night games?
They have 2 West Coast Monday night games.
So
yeah. Not this year. I don't know why. That sucks. I wish they did.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. At least we haven't heard of that many people being put on the COVID list yet, at least. Because I know there was a report that a lot of coaches were worried earlier this week for the testing because a lot of the players, since college football really ramped up this last week, they were at a lot of their old colleges, around a lot of fans, a lot of people I know. I read reports that coaches were very scared about how all the testing was going to go, but I haven't really heard much in the last couple of days about that. So that's a positive in the right direction. But as we saw last year, sometimes it just comes out on Sunday that a big star player won't be able to play, and so it's about attrition and having someone on your bench to plug in.
I saw Devonta Smith at the Alabama game last week, and I was just like, "Oh, look, it's Devonta Smith," and I was like, "I have Jalen Hurts." I was like, "I don't like you. Get out of there right now." I was like, "Get the hell out of there right now, please."
Yeah, definitely. So for your running back film review, have you picked who you're going to do this week, or are you going to wait until after the games happen?
Oh, for the running back versus game script?
Yes.
There's so many different ways I can go. I was thinking about doing A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones. I was thinking about doing Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, Miles Sanders. I mean, there's so many. Do you have any idea? I can do any of them. Myles Gaskin. I can do not the Texans. Any James Robinson, see how that worked out for him. It's gonna have to be somebody that a lot of people are wondering about. Gus Edwards, Tyson Williams.
Right? That would be a good one. Even though I kind of think the Ravens might run the ball a lot, since they should be able to handle the Raiders.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pick a game that happened Sunday because I want to get started on a Sunday night because the condensed version should be available Sunday night. So I'll be getting started on a Sunday night and hopefully that'll give me a head start on it to be done early Tuesday evening so I can have it released. Let people look at it for their waiver wires, whatever they want to do, or adjust their rankings based on it. So we'll see.
Okay, yeah, can't wait for that to come out. And also, I just want to put a little plug in. During the season on Saturdays, I will be releasing a offensive NFL sleeper with IDP guys. So be looking out for that. So that's the show, a much more condensed show, but still just as fun. So thanks for joining in. And I am Brandon Hay at HayB3.
And I am Zada Kansabedian at ZCantsFF.
All right. Thanks for joining, guys.